A lot of people have been linking me to this post for the last 24 hours, either through social media, aka Twitter, or even on YouTube. People have been like, hey Chibi, did you hear about the news that there's politicians in the United States trying to currently ban anime and manga? And I was just like, huh? Like, I was a little bit out of the loop, because I just, like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I do dabble into some political stuff every so often, but I don't make it my entire lifestyle. I personally like to focus on anime and manga. I like to focus on gaming. You get the point. Sometimes I will dabble into some very important adultish topics like this, because obviously it's pretty important to kind of stay aware. But more or less, I was completely, hit from the side when I found out apparently a bill was getting passed that might affect anime and manga. So I did some research. I decided to sit down and discover what's going on here, and eventually I found this post, which is from a senator in Texas, basically managing to pass a bill that more or less at first glance seems to be innocent, trying to tackle deepfakes, AI, and the issues of how AI and deepfakes could harm children. And there's a lot more nuance to it and all that, but it makes a lot of sense why a bill would target that. But then a part of this bill, they try to also target cartoon and animation, as you can see here, which gets into a whole mess of issues. Basically, this is something that's already been ruled upon in the past with the Supreme Court, by the way. In this case right here, which you can see actually right here, it literally outlines the whole thing right here about how it does not apply to depictions of drawings, cartoons, sculptures, or paintings and all that. So pretty much like this is something that has already been shot down before, and it wasn't allowed to pass because the Supreme Court deemed it unconstitutional, so to speak. So this overall bill that these senators are trying to pass in Texas is not going to go far. And a lot of the doom posting that a lot of people have been trying to say, it's not going to happen. It's not. No judge, no Supreme Court or anything is 100% going to approve this and allow this to fully become a law. But it makes sense why there is a lot of fear for it. For one, obviously, I'm just going to be completely blunt, there has been definitely censorship, not just on the left side of politicians, but also on the right. As someone that is going to be completely transparent here, I know a lot of people don't want to hear my political opinions or anything completely fair, that's completely fine, but I more or less fall on the side of the center, okay? I do have some left-leaning beliefs and some right-leaning beliefs. I do. And I'm just going to be completely transparent as well. I'm not trying to hide it, but I also voted Trump because personally, I'm just going to be honest, much better option than the other option we had for the presidential election. Just going to be honest. But regardless, I don't always agree with everything that happens on the right, and the same can be said for the left. I like to stay down the middle and just see both sides and figure out which side more or less I agree with. But the point I'm trying to make is that there's been a lot of people that, have found out about this news and been linking me to it saying, you get what you deserve since you voted for Trump or whatever. It's like, just because I voted for, let's say, a Republican doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to 100% agree with every little thing that that side does. That's not how it works. At the end of the day, I'm human, and I go back and forth and choose which one I more or less agree with. In this case, like I said, I like to be center. Like, I'm more of a centrist. But anyways, getting off of that, the point of the matter is that there has been definitely a lot of more or less censorship on the right side as of late. For instance, a lot of adult sites, I think anyone that knows what I'm talking about, has been banned where it requires an ID to access, which not a big fan of. Once again, I don't trust sites with my ID and stuff like that, but obviously it's effectively caused a lot of states, even the state I currently live in, aka Tennessee, not to allow certain sites to be accessed, which is wild. It's actually very wild just to see rampant censorship on, adult content like that. So, what I'm trying to say is, it makes sense why there was a lot of people doom posting and talking about the situation and adding me to it because of the way the bill was lined out. For instance, basically saying it would also try to ban depictions of cartoons and animation and all that, and, obviously, if this bill theoretically was to come to pass and fully was able to pass, this would have an effect on my dress-up darling as a good example. For instance, just because Marin, is the way she looks, she obviously looks like an adult, but because the Wikipedia page says she's basically 16, it means that this bill theoretically could attack series like that, banning a lot of anime and manga that's like that, which would be wow, it would be a crazy day if that actually happened. But obviously, as I already give context to, there was already cases in the past, like for instance the Stanley case to the Ashcroft case, and then there's even, Supreme Court ruling on this that basically it's unconstitutional. So for those worrying about whatever this bill is, it's not going to really do anything. It's not going to go far. It's more or less just to see how much they can get away with or put into something if they can actually get it passed or not. But obviously, there's a whole other can of worms to really talk about when it comes to AI and deepfakes. I think in general, what they were trying to do with the bill when it comes to AI and deepfakes makes sense, because obviously if someone is to start processing basically, actual kids in an AI generator, makes sense why they would want that banned. Completely fair. I'm fully on board with that. I understand why that would be censored and banned. But obviously, the actual law went much further than that and was so broad that it didn't just target stuff like that. So that's what I'm getting at. So all I gotta say, very questionable to focus on. I mean, it's just like, out of all the things going on right now in the world and society and even in politics in these individual states, it's strange they focus on this of all things. Like, if they were just to focus on the AI stuff, that would make sense. But the fact that they went the extra mile, it's like, what the... it's just like, they're so, like, they obviously really don't care about kids. They don't care about people. If they did, they wouldn't have done what they tried to do with this bill, but you get the point. It usually is all just, like, virtue signaling and stuff like that, which gets back to the main point. Those that are saying that, oh, you're a Trump supporter, you get what you deserve, look, just because I voted for the man doesn't mean I have to agree with everything he does. What I'm saying is that this in general right now is not good, but I'm glad it's not going to go anywhere. I'm glad it's not. I just wanted to clear the room and let people understand what was going on, because this is never going to see the light of day. But okay, I love you guys. Be safe. Stay healthy. Chibi out.